Celtics made a trade, apparently already, or they have agreed to a trade for Evan Fournier, which is part of what we wanted, what we were talking about seeing here, but it seems incomplete, Bobby. This does not feel like it's the last shoe to drop here, but what we do know here is the Celtics have traded, it looks like 2 second-round picks and part of their trade exception, a good chunk of it, to Orlando for Fournier. And again, it would appear now that any trade involving Aaron Gordon would have to involve Marcus Smart or a third team and or first-round picks, changing places, possibly some team absorbing a contract like Tristan Thompson to eat into the TPE there. But it's gotten a little trickier now, where you can't just use the full trade exception on a Gordon type player. And so here's where we are with Fournier. First off, it's hard to judge this deal without knowing what's next. But if this is all the Celtics do, how do you feel about this right now?
No, I'll feel good. Better than nothing, right? I came into this day saying that if the Celtics did absolutely nothing, which seemed to be a real possibility, it'd be an absolute disaster. They had to add something to this team right now that could make them significantly
it's an expiring
better.
contract, Bobby. We gotta keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure, but I don't think you make this deal unless you have a good feeling that you could keep him here long term beyond this year.
There has to be something else, right?
Yeah.
It has to be something else.
I think this is what we all felt good about coming in, adding multiple rotation pieces, not just Gordon, to try to form a more deep, offensively versatile and defensively versatile team here. If you're moving, let's say, Thompson into 2 wings at this point, that's a substantial shift in how the Celtics are going to play stylistically this year.
And again, we talked about the beauty of it during the Gordon Hayward, short-lived, the healthy Gordon Hayward era of just those multiple wings out there. Is just such a thing to behold.
Fournier is 6'7". I mean, I don't think people realize how big he is.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So again, I don't think people know a lot about Evan Fournier. Again, this is a guy who, he's not an explosive athlete. He's not a wow guy. Jimmy talked about it on our post-game show last night. I can't remember ever having seen an Evan Fournier highlight, he said, which is funny because he obviously, ironically hit the game winner for the Magic last night. So he did do something on his last act as an Orlando
his
Magic.
last shot, yeah.
So, but you're right. He's not a flash guy. He's a guy who just kind of, gets his buckets. He's efficient. He can get to the basket. He's a pretty good shooter. He's averaging 19 points a game this year. Granted, on an Orlando team that's struggling to find buckets a lot of places and decimated by injury, so those numbers are clearly inflated. But you bring him into a full season with a team like Boston, this would be a 12, 13 point off the bench sort of guy, which is exactly what you're looking for. This goes back to the offseason when we talked about greatest needs. Wing depth. It wasn't necessarily available, but can you imagine if they had brought in a guy like Fournier instead of Thompson? We might be talking about different things right now. You'd feel a little better about this team and where the type of ball they were playing. They haven't had the parts. Everything's been ill-fitting all season long. So you're right. Philosophically, something has to change.
But if it's just Fournier alone, think of moving the 20 minutes of Semi Ojeleye a game, all those 3-point attempts that he takes, to a guy who shoots 37% from his career from 3 on volume, 38% this year on 7 attempts. It's going to be a substantial shift. And just this one piece alone, I think, is going to be a significant upgrade. People keep saying all week, oh, there's nothing that's going to move the needle. There's nothing that's going to make this team much better. They've been so bad when it comes to depth, shooting, role players, all that stuff, that a guy as reliable as Fournier, and this is an NBA starter, is going to instantly make a big difference. This guy's going to play 25 minutes a game, completely cut Grant, Semi, those kind of guys out of the rotation. And that alone is just going to be a massive difference for this team, I feel like.